Hello and welcome once again to Wandering Monster America's Test Table, where we don't play test games. No, we stress test them. And my name, in case you're wondering, is John Austin Baltusberger.
My name is Charles R. Bernard.
I'm Bridget D. Brave.
Ian A. Servas, if we're getting all this data from people to steal our identities.
See, I was gonna join in. Now I'm questioning. Like, do I want to give out that middle initial? Just the
Just
initial.
give a fake initial. No one will know.
J. My middle initial is J, and that's all you need to know.
Charles J. Patchkey's social security number is.
I give you that in trust and confidence.
Did you guys know that about the LifeLock guy who put his own social security number out there on buses and everything?
It was very funny. It was extremely funny.
What
His
happened?
friends.
Oh, he got his identity stolen several times. Is what happened.
So, if you are not aware, we are we're a bunch of artsy fartsy assholes. At
News
least
to me.
at least four of us make part of our money playing with words. We write words, we edit words, we yell at words. Some of us, one of us in particular, yells at other people's words, and then prints them and pretends he makes money and then cries softly in his bed at night.
Wait, you guys are
But-
making
but-
money doing this shit?
No,
Yeah.
no.
well, I mean, for
lost
some
money.
values, for some values of money, it's sort of like, you know, how much energy does there have to be for it to be measurable? Like that's kind of how I feel about income from words.
I have a fairly decent fan base, and I take all of the money from those sales and put them into publishing other people's books. So it's a zero-sum game for me, except for we're putting out some cool shit, right? But my point stands. The majority of the people on this show get some scratch from putting words together in new and interesting ways. Sometimes those ways are so new and so interesting they make our editor Lisa scream at us. But that's beside the point. We love them. We love words. All of us love words. Even you, dear listener, you love the words I'm speaking right now. Maybe not in the order they're in, but like in general. A couple years back, I was on a website that has taken, let's just call it all of my money. And I was doing what I normally do, which is feverishly click through buttons, adding projects willy-nilly to my Kickstarter cart, and then going back and crying as I take them out. But there was one that I couldn't take out. I'm speaking, of course, of Necronautilus. Now, this game, which is a game about being an agent of death, serving the Grim Reaper, whose mechanics are words and word play, grabbed me by the balls. I was so fascinated and in love, and I bought this and I read through it, and I've been following World Champ Games ever since, because World Champ Games and their lead designer Adam Vass are incredible. They did a cyber
great stuff. Yeah.
They did Cybermeld 2012, which we've done on the show before.
Mhm.
They did recently Soulburner, which is a mishmash of Necronautilus and Morkborg. They did Fiskborg, which I played a little bit with when we played Svump. Like, they do some really cool shit. And I also will say the art for World Champ Games is always on point. It's always great and beautiful. So, as someone who likes reading books, I approve. As a gamer that likes interesting mechanics, I was into it. And then as someone who just likes really pretty books, I mentioned to these guys earlier tonight that like Necronautilus is one of my favorite like pretty books, like right next to Fungi of the Far Realm from the Mesothelioma Art Council. Look, I'll get it one. Messalenia?
Melsonia.
Nelsonia.
Melsonia. They also make very pretty books.
Mm.
I say all of this to say, from day one, like before Ian was a part of this show, Ian was like, "Yeah, if you ever want to play something, let me know. I'd run a game or two." And I was like, "Cool. Here's this game called Necronautilus. I yearn for it." And due to unforeseen circumstances that I don't remember, tonight my dreams and yours, dear listener, come true. We are playing Necronautilus from World Champ Games.
And the one and only Adam Vass.
To Adam.
I would toast, but toasting with water is bad luck, I hear.
Oh, is it?
Great, you say that right after I take a drink.
Oh, sorry.
Mine was
Appreciate
water
that.
too. We are all fucked.
All right. In for a penny, etc.
Does this mean that, like, is the way to do it is to just chug the whole water?
I don't think anyone realizes the full extent of how much I am a beverage goblin, as the TikToks say. So I have like 2 liters of water in mason jars, a big thing of tea, and a non-alcoholic beer. And it's like, I will consume all of this by the end of the podcast. Like,
These guys are not a sponsor, but I do want to point out I made a switch recently from drinking poison in the morning, energy drinks, to drinking caffeinated mineral water with
I
a
didn't even know that
ginger
was a
lime.
thing.
Yeah, it like doesn't have all the shit, just has like mineral water and caffeine, and I feel much better about like everything these days.
If
Yeah.
they're not using that as a tagline, they should. It doesn't have all the shit. That's
What is this not sponsored product called?
HEB sparkling water with caffeine, ginger lime flavor.
Okay. That
Yeah,
flows.
they
straight
call it
off
what
the
they did.
tongue.
I was gonna say beverage talk, and then like we like talk about our beverages, and then I realized, oh, this company, the beverage I'm drinking is at odds with its own ethics statement, and like they like to say they're ethical and did all this stuff to say they had ethics ratings, and then their company was doing really bad things, but I'd already purchased the beverage, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with it now, but I guess I'll drink it. But now I probably shouldn't endorse it. But so I
No,
was
we-
in a koozie
so
where you
Bruno-
We
can't
could
tell
we
what
could
it
get
is.
into the fretful
Oh.
nature of consumer citizenship and how that prevents us from perceiving, let alone acting on problems of collective import. But that would be a different show.
Or we
That's a
could
perfect segue
play an RPG about
into-
words.
Yes,
Well,
let's
that's
do
how I
that.
was already doing the non sequitur and so yes, in Necronautilus, you are playing as a death agent. You are a fragment of a soul, the former thing that you once were, and you are trapped and bound to a toxic cloud of gas. It is this nascent form that you occupy that allows you to traverse this infinite world of death. And in this universe of death, everything that has ever died, from any bug that you've stepped on to distant stars that died before your birth, all are here. And what's interesting is that just like how multiplying by negative numbers will yield positive ones, this collective morass of death breeds new life. And so Death's kingdom itself is constantly creating new creatures. So this creates interesting tension within these infinite realms, that when you have infinite life springing as well, that makes infinite conflict. Creatures with different types of agendas begin to vie for power or seek to challenge death, the blind god themselves. New creatures need to be cataloged to figure out who roams these domains. There are many myriad tasks that fall to you, and as death agents, you resolve them in whatever way you can. As you have no real corporeal form, so to say, your agency is exacted through words of power. And this place, words have tangible, palpable effects. And so you influence the universe with your words, words that may or may not be imbued with power, words that are forming, coming into being. The act of saying words changes words. And so throughout the night, there'll be interesting words that come from this, and we will see how that they are used. Now, with that kind of context, let us introduce our big, fat, gassy clouds of toxic essence and broken, shattered memories.
If I may add one thing,
Yes.
one of the mechanics in this game allows you to gain more than your like base level of life as you play, and part of that mechanic is as you gain more life, you gain more and more semblance to the thing or person you once were. And if you ever gain a certain amount of life, you leave death's service, and that character kind of retires and becomes a denizen of the worlds of death.
And if you die too many times, you may earn the ire of death itself, and death will send death knights or administratively chastise you with paperwork and definitely not shred your soul in very terrible ways for eternity. You know, normal business.
Normal death stuff.
Normal capitalism. I mean, death stuff.
Okay.
All right. So, which death cloud would like to go first? If only there was someone who didn't fear death, who embraced death, would just start talking about their character.
I love death, and my title, which is our death cloud equivalent of a name, is Hypotenuse. I was a servant of a dead god. I'm doing some penance for what, you might ask? Well, my words of power are Oracle, Cannibal, and Terraform. So take your pick of how that one played out.
My Owl is the code name that my agent goes by, and Scowl is a fairly towering pillar of swirling black and purple miasmic fog, much akin to the album Purple Miasmic Fog from the band Bog Wizard, being rep by Charles's Shirt, who does our intro and outro music. Scowl does not have memories, as none of us do, but Scowl has a deep and abiding sense of the need to atone.
All right, I'll go next. So I am Echolalia. I don't want to discuss why I became a death agent, honestly. I don't remember why. I'm sure it was important at the time. My words of power are ritual, wormhole, and nightfall. So I think things are going to get a little dark at some point tonight.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to say my words of power. Manipulate, calamity, and conflagration.
Ooh, those are good ones.
All right, that leaves me. Let's see here. My name is Grapefruit because that's the voice.
That's the voice of a grapefruit. Yeah. Yeah.
A ritual spell miscast by inconceivable inexperienced. This is gonna be fun with words. Make the dyslexic read out loud. Inexperienced comic imps screwed about your fate. So I guess imps killed me is what I'm taking from that, whether I remember it all the way or not. I don't know. Probably
I'm
not.
just picturing this cosmic felt like grapefruit puppet talking.
Yeah.
I
Just
love it.
a giant grapefruit, but Muppety felt.
Yeah.
It's not a new one, like one that's been around the block. So like little bits are flaking off.
Ruby or white?
Oh, Ruby.
So, when a soul chooses to become a death agent, they are completely stripped of their previous humanity and or memories, their existence, and are basically function. The one thing that is left of their former life is that reason. Death helps them, or I guess punishes them in a way with letting them have one memory, and that is just why they want to become a death agent, to remind them and to force them into greater obedience. The caveat with that is that if you let there be any bit of memory, then that lets in other memories. So as the agents are going to be going through their adventure, this will help them to unlock memories and start to develop, like John has said, perhaps the capture life essence and help rebuild them, or decide to purge that by making new words of power and maintaining loyal to death itself. So now we've met our death agents. The one thing that we haven't met so far is their ship. All the death agents to move around in this universe, since they don't have corporeal forms per se, but kind of localized essences, is they have their ship with a Nautilus shaped class that almost looks like a cephalopod that goes through the universe. So the four of you, as kind of a quick little montage to make this so we can get faster in gameplay, what is the name of your ship and what does it look like? And together we'll do a quick build out of its systems, and then we'll go straight into a mission given by the blind god death themselves.
Took me down on this, but Bernice's revenge.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Bernice's
Love it.
revenge. Okay. I like it. Call back there. The death ships that you pilot in this universe have 4 different systems: operation systems, navigation and comms, weapon and defense, and engines and propulsion. These all have different functions to help you navigate in the universe, and your ship is also a reflection of you. You all have 3 different words in your collection that are kind of nascent things floating in your essence. Each of you can take one of your collection words and put it into the ship for one of these systems, and this builds out your ship, reflecting what the word is.
I will take the weapons system,
Okay.
and my word is morph.
Morph?
Morph.
Okay.
Is there? You
Morph.
said there's a navigation system.
Navigation and comms.
I will take navigation and comms and add the word planets.
Planets. Okay. And as you are giving your word, it does get crossed off your list, but you will get a new word later.
Okay.
Sorry, I cut you off there, Echolele.
I just want to show off. This is what the character sheets for Necronautilus look like. I laminated mine, and because I bought a fancy laminator, and I feel fancy, y'all.
He laminated it so he could take it to Denny's when he eats there.
You
No,
think, hey,
he
you
got
think I
so
won't?
Grand slam
excited.
right there, champ.
No. You think I won't take? You think I won't take this character sheet to a strip club and force dancers to play Necronautilus with me? Because I will.
Gross.
Hey, the sole reason why I didn't kick the Kickstarter was like, I don't know any people weird enough who would ever play this game with me.
And now you're on this show where we're playing this weird game
I
together.
love it.
Ian,
So-
you knew me
and
back then.
That's true, but you lived far away, and this was before
Did
The
I?
internet.
Or did I still live in Indiana?
Avon. It's a far weird place. So, Echolele, you're saying what you were wanting to, the influence you wanted to exert on your ship.
Yes. I want to take engine and propulsion, and my word is invertebrate. So I am going to.
Ooh.
We are a nice. The way the ship moves is through like this kind of amorphous blobby system that looks kind of like an amoeba almost, and it just kind of like a
I love it, like
jellyfish, just like
Hydra or-
pulsating
yeah.
through. Yeah.
The protoplasma drive.
Yes. I hope everybody
I
enjoyed
love
my
it.
my. This is it. This is the ship right here. This is what we're doing.
Nice,
Yes.
nice.
with
This
a weapon system where the beak should be that
Yes.
can like reconfigure itself based on the threats.
Love it.
And so that means grapefruit that you have the operation systems, which basically means you have life support, you have intership systems, a lot of the guts.
You see, one of my words is acidic, and I want to use it, but I think it's detrimental to the campaign.
Add acidic
It's
to
gonna be,
life
this is going to
support.
be from your this is going to be from your collections.
Oh, so my
So,
collections. Oh, my
yes.
bad. My bad. Okay. You know, Charles, I think that I'm going to do this one for you. The life support, I'm throwing in the word herbalist, and I think you know why.
Hell yeah.
Oh my gosh, I am very surprised you didn't say warthog.
We are clouds flying through space, smoking clouds.
All right, so correct me if this deviates from the vision. So we have operations as herbalist, we have navigation and comms as planet, weapons and defense as morph, and then invertebrate. So I almost imagine like this is almost like a moon jellyfish or like a freshwater hydra that has planetoids that are kind of stuck to its surface or revolving around it, while there's it's bristling with strange plant life along its tendrils, and the barbs at the end of its tendrils change in various weird ways.
Love it.
Cool.
I love it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd fly this thing any day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Bernice is going to have her revenge.
It sounds like the cover to like, who am I thinking of? Like an LP from like, not Rush, but maybe Styx.
Oh,
Or like-
yeah, I know exactly.
yeah.
Like, well, a lot of them had that, like Journey and.
Yeah.
I was thinking Space Slug.
Also
Well, the
good.
nice thing is with Morph, perhaps every time you land on a planet, you change it. Maybe it becomes a different invertebrate weird thing.
Lobster mode activate.
God, yes.
That would be absolutely fantastic. So, as you are riding through Bernice's revenge, your memory and cognition is always in a state of flux. You are very much focused on the now because there is this constant static when you try to look in the past, and the future itself doesn't really exist for one that really lives in death. And so you're always forced into this perpetual now, or this little liminal space between two infinite gulfs. And your interaction on this ship is odd because you at times don't know exactly where you're headed and why, but you feel death's influence kind of resonate in through you, compelling you to areas where your task is supposed to be occurring. And you know that every time that you go through this, whenever you arrive at your destination is when you get your objective. As you are going through this space, seeing various planets birthing and dying in this endless land of death, are there any intra-gas cloud interactions that any of you want to have?
No, I don't think we have. Or for me, I don't feel like we have enough. Like, I think we need to develop our personalities a little in the field.
We need a
That
purpose.
is
We are
fair.
volitionless.
All right, I will, just for sake of convenience, I'm going to go ahead and replenish your words that you just spent from your collection. So just rolling randomly, and hopefully we won't have too many in the way of duplicates. So grapefruit, you have, vortex.
Nice.
Scowl, you have burden.
Nice. Yeah, I do.
Hypotenuse, you have submarine.
Yeah.
And
Heck
then
yeah.
Echolalia, you have emerald.
Ooh. And these go in our collection.
That goes
Yeah.
in your collection because you just spent a word from your collection, so this replenishes that. So now you're back up to 3 words in your collection.
Yes.
Okay. So, exciting montage, long sci-fi panel shot as you kind of go through this very strange universe. And in this kind of montage, each of you tell me what is one very weird thing that you see as you kind of look out of the port of your Bernice's Revenge jellyfish moonfish death ship.
I see a planet that is not only inhabited by ants, but is in fact made up entirely of ants. Fire ants will bite each other to form like platforms and ride out floods. And so ants that were just kind of floating through the ether started glomming onto each other. And through the course of all of space and time, enough ants have passed and glommed onto each other to create an actual world of ants.
I love it. For convenience, since we're also playing a shorter window, I'm going to give all of you a bonus word. So your bonus word in your collection is going to be ants.
Nice.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I happen to be looking at a particular patch of stars, not any recognizable constellation that I know of, but as I'm watching, they just realign slowly. And since I know astronomical distances and understand them, that is not good.
Okay.
I got
Your
one.
word is distance.
Cool.
All right, grapefruit.
Grapefruit looks out and sees a nebula that is old, clearly like from where a supergiant star had exploded, and it's just the gases lingering and kind of coming back together. And a series of ships have gotten like trapped inside of it, and their computers have somehow connected over the static electric signals in the nebula, shorting out in such a way to make the nebula itself sentient.
Cool.
Interesting. Well, your word is trapped.
And as I'm looking out my window, I see a star nursery, one of those nebulas with all the little fingerlings that are starting to release brand new stars. And as I'm watching this, just completely transfixed by the birth of stars, I notice that there is a large, I think it might be some type of Oort cloud, but it's shaped like a giant snake. And that giant snake looks like it's about to consume all of those newly born stars.
Bro.
Your word is consume. So these things that you've seen, maybe they stir things within you. Maybe they might relate to some of the words that you already currently have, or those little things that almost feel like they're trying to press into the very basis of your subconscious, like little flitting images of maybe something that you were before. You find that your ship is being pulled in this very strange area of the universe, and it looks like you are approaching a giant mountain of what looks like rancid meat and teeth. It's quite peculiar, but as you come closer and closer to this, you see that it is a giant lumpy planetoid of massive size. It looks like an inverted maw of countless jagged teeth, and there are rivers of strange fluid running out from them. For the distance, you can see there looks to be maybe distant forests or large patches of verdant green across this kind of mottled, strange flesh. This is the cavity. This is a does anyone so all of you have basically amnesiac to a degree. Do any of you have a word dealing with knowledge or recollection that you might want to use in this case to find out more of what this location is? Otherwise, you can choose to enter into the space without any real knowledge of this and then kind of figure it out as you go along.
Oh, I have a word for that. And that word is oracle, my word of power.
Wonderful.
And I would like to use it with my collection word cataloging.
So let's see if it's successful or worse. So roll
Okay.
your 2d6, and you're
Yep.
going to want to get 6 or less.
And I got 6, a 4 and a 2.
All right, now this is interesting. So what happens is when you roll exactly when you have a skill is that you resonate this word so intensely that it explodes. You overcharge it, overload this. So you have this massive explosion of essence, and you are funneling this through which word in your collection did you say?
Cataloging.
Cataloging. Great. So let me tell you the result of that, and then we can kind of do what happens afterwards.
Okay.
So you send out your essence at almost like a ping, and you get this massive wall of information that comes back into you that infuses you with this. You know that this planetoid, before anyone can remember, that this was a giant beast that roamed through the universe itself, almost like a giant mega shark. These things swam through the spaces between worlds, gobbling up small planets that had been fully formed, stars and other things. But these beasts were too large and too numerous to sustain themselves, so they all started to die out. The last one that survived was Selleck, this massive lone last of these Goliath beasts. And in his search for his people or someone else from his species, he dove into a black hole, and it inverted his whole body and compressed him into a singularity. So he became this planetoid. This thing itself was once a giant creature, and you know that it itself sustains other things from your kind of massive success that you have. There are things that are digesting this meat and live in its teeth and other things, and you feel compelled to catalog all of these. Now, since you got that great success, what happens is your word literally shatters. So you lose at least one letter from that word, and you can choose to pull out more letters. And what's left of that, you can turn into a new word. You don't have to worry about spelling if it's not too close. But the more letters that you choose to remove beyond one, you can either turn into a new word. So if you pull out, let's say, well, you've got a shorter word with oracle, but let's say if it was a longer word, like 9 letters, and you pull out 4, you could turn that into 3 life or a 4-letter word. So something to think about of how you want to use that.
And we can spell creatively and phonetically.
Within reason, correct.
What if I wanted to lose everything from the C on down and replace it with the word aura? AURA.
You need the root word to be at least 4 letters long. So
I
as
see.
long as you're not going past that,
It's
so oracle doesn't leave you with too much option there, honestly.
no.
Realizing.
Yeah. Well, hang on a second. I can figure something out here. Are we allowed to rearrange letters?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, well then I'm just going to lose the O and make it clear.
Oh,
CLEAR.
Yep, that is correct. So now that becomes a new word of power. And so now that is a new word of power. And instead of a 6 rating, it is now a 7 rating.
Sweet.
All right.
And I
So
believe he gains 1 life, right?
No, it's if he were to take out more letters beyond the one. So
Okay.
if he just took out one, he doesn't. But
Oh,
if, so that's the thing, if there's a
do-do-do-do-do.
bigger word and if it bursts, you can use that to like start to rebuild your humanity, make new words or other wild things. Do you choose to share this information with your party?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I am clear. Oh, and speaking of clear, those percolating things underneath our pure death consciousness that you talked about trying to press their way through. Let me Scientology explain that to you. Those are called thetans. No, I'm just kidding.
I thought this was going to be a more effing no moment.
No.
No.
Well, it
No,
is, but it's
it's
the more you
a-
have to know about a cult, I guess, you know.
Ugh.
Hmm. Do I have to say effing?
I don't know.
For
I don't know
effing
this,
real?
man.
I'd prefer.
I
I
know.
prefer if you did. Everyone else can cuss, but not you.
Oh fuck yeah.
Oh well, fuck that.
Hey, language, mister.
What the
so
goddamn tone,
weird
you
that, like,
mother?
In
I will
life,
pull this
whenever
stream
I-
over.
No, it's like whenever I curse in real life, people are like, "You curse," and I'm like, "Yeah." It was never.
And you don't even
seen-
live in Utah. Like you actually get like opprobrium here for using salty language.
Is,
The
No, the
Mormons don't
incel will-
even.
are you heading towards Demolition Man?
Yeah, yeah,
No Lansdale
yeah,
will yell at you if you don't curse.
yeah. As it should be. Yeah.
So, with that information that you've gotten from your massive success, you know that, and all of you are starting to get this kind of bubbling up in your psyche as you start to get that information from death. That there are creatures that live here that are abducting passing travelers from nearby vessels for sacrificial rituals, including other death agents.
So we know some bad shit's going on down there. We are aware of this. We are filled with knowledge, as the kids say.
Absolutely.
I suppose I suppose we should put a stop to that.
Absolutely. I think we should make sure that nothing else dies, unless it needs to die, like we did.
Galactic grapefruit. I love it. Yeah. I mean that sounds cool by me. That's some atonin. I need to do some atonin. And that probably means some deboning of our foes. So yeah, go
Is
do
that how
it.
you get your serotonin?
Yeah.
The debonin, serotonin.
Yeah.
You are better than melatonin. Well,
So, if you want to land your ships, one of you is going to need to hop into the engine and propulsion module of your ship and make our second roll of the evening.
you know what? I'll do that this time
Yeah.
because I have manipulate.
That is fantastic. So what you're going to be rolling here is actually going to be 4d6, and you're going to be picking the best 2 dice for this.
Okie dokie. Oof. All right. Well, I botched it either way.
Really, with 4d6.
With 4,
Yep,
you can
I
pick
rolled-
any 2.
I rolled 3 5s.
No shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So not a great roll from you, boy.
Okay. So
We were playing
no, but
Yahtzee.
this is good. So what was your best result?
My best roll, no matter how I slice it, I have an 8. And yeah.
It's always good to know. All right. So failure in this game, of course, is just as interesting as succeeding.
Mhm.
So, and sorry, your word again was manipulate.
Yep. I think
I'm just thinking of when you fail, you manipulate the word or add more words to it. So first off, tell me what has happened here. You are trying to work with these engines and propulsions, which is invertebrate, and you are manipulating it. How does this go wrong?
So I am distracted by my co agents use the word tone, as I know it's a driving force for me, and so I am distracted when I am attempting to manipulate the ship into doing what I want it to do.
Blame it on me, sure.
And as I am kind of lifting up the thrusters to slowly bring us in, sorry, I forget which of my cloud tendrils is on the clutch and which is on the brake, and I just hit the gas instead.
All right.
You know, as you do.
Yeah, we've all been
Classic
there.
mistake.
One of the things that I think is also special in this game is that it also calls on you as a GM to leverage your group to also, when things go weird, to manipulate that even further. So to the group, as you were seeing this, your fellow death agent struggle with the machine, struggle with itself, and is failing at this, how does this modify the word manipulate? Does it add on a new word to it, or does it become, or do you add a prefix or suffix to it? This fundamentally changes that word and alters its use.
I feel like you've demanipulated our ship. So can we add like D to it? So
Yeah,
I
do
don't
we
know.
get to invent words like demanipulate?
I think that it fits the spirit of the game.
Yeah.
And so you demanipulated the ship. Your new word of power is demanipulate, and it becomes a 7 rank word.
Got it.
So you are trying to park your ship and you hit the gas. So you slam your ship into the side of one of these toothy mountains, or like these giant teeth that are sticking out of a mountain, skewering the side of your ship. So every type of task that you do, every type of life tracker is a clock that may have different amounts of slices in it. So this has kind of done some damage to your clock by a couple of pieces. I'll kind of track that. Normally this would be a player-facing thing to show that this is part
Time
of
is
your
running out.
obstacle. Exactly. Okay, so you all crash land into the side of this planetoid. You see this giant shark tooth that has punctured the side of your jellyfish ship. And there is a very odd green trickle that is running off of this tooth into your ship.
I meant to do that.
Oh, of course you did.
Perfect landing.
So are we concerned about the green fluid? Should I do
Not
a
all.
visual?
That's supposed to working as intended.
Okay.
It's a
Alright.
fluid and we're gases. So, I mean, it's not like we're going to mix
And
that
the tooth
much.
itself is a solid. We get a plasma, we're okay. So dumb.
Statistically, the majority of matter in the universe is a plasma.
Nice.
I'm reading up on words that I can make permanent and stuff. Sorry.
Any
rules
word
are
that's
really
in your
interesting.
I will be right
collection- Any word that's in your collection, you can make permanent by expending D6 life. Now, keep in mind that you all have 6 life. So if you happen to roll 6, then you fall into a, well, I would say death-like torpor. But in this case, you do slip into a very strange coma that affects you in a special way. So what are the rest of you doing? So you've damaged your ship, you've crash landed on this meaty planetoid, and you know that you need to stop these sacrifices from occurring, that people that travel near or on this planetoid get abducted. And kind of channeling the echoing bits of your ability, hypotenuse, you know that these people that are, or these things that are capturing people, are they themselves shark people?
Well, do you think we can trap the sharp people? Because that's one of my words. Does it have to be a word of power or one of my collection?
So words that are in your collection aren't active words. They're modifying. They don't have enough power behind them to
Okay.
be fully fledged, like words that manipulate the universe, unless you want to spend D6 life and make it be empowered.
Okay.
Now you can also use luck. So luck is like a skill that you can roll. It's a 2d6 as well. So you can do that for anything you don't have a word, but there are consequences to using luck.
All right, so I would use the word of power in this situation, and then
Mhm.
am I understanding that I could modify it with one of my collection then,
So when
or did I
you
misunderstand?
No, you're absolutely correct. So when you successfully use a word, your word of power, you manipulate it with one of your words from your collection, and that also helps to unlock a memory. But you have to be successful in your action.
All right, so basically what I want to do is I want to take the acid out of the ship, and I want to trap the shock people in the acid.
Tell me more about that. So this is a large planetoid, and so there. First off, you're going to need to find these shark people before you can manipulate this. So I like where you're taking this. Maybe let's perhaps find them, and then you can influence it by using your word.
All right, so Grapefruit would kind of just go up to the driver's seat and be like, "Move over! I got this. I know what I'm doing," and just start working levers and just like the acid tanks here. Got that all tuned up. All right, and so just start cruising along and trapping the baddies with acid.
Okay,
Yes?
so
No? Not enough?
this is going to be a complex action if you're going to be repiloting the ship. Every system that is involved with piloting the ship is going to need to be used. So this can be happen. Maybe you might need to leverage your companions. So that'd mean that you would need to make a engines and propulsion check, and then navigation and comms. And then probably if you're going to be using acid as weapons and defense. So we're looking at a minimum of 3 different roles that are going to need to be happening in order to kind of repilot your ship after you've crash landed, and then do that action. So
Okay,
maybe
I'll
your
work
fellow
on.
agents.
I'll work on. Did you say that it's communications is hooked to what else?
Navigation and communication.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna clear those right up with my newly minted clear word, so that
I
we
have
can
an
find
idea
what
for
we're looking
navigation.
for.
I could assist with navigation.
Now,
Okay.
assisting is something that you can do in this. There are 2 different ways that you can assist in this game. You are either leveraging one of your words from your collection and basically giving it to the other person so they get a -1 on their roll, or you can be risky and you will let them roll for you. So as an assistant, the person that's being helped rolls 3d6 and drops their worst die. If it's successful, then your action that you're wanting to do, Echolalia, as a helper happens. If he fails, then that means both of you suffer the failure. So it's a little bit of a different way of handling assist than other games. Which way would you like to be going?
I would like them to roll for me. And
Hell
here
yeah.
is what I am going to do, because I know that ants have an incredible sense of smell. So why don't we leverage our ants, which I've got now in my word, to in my collection, to find these sharks for us.
Ooh,
The
good idea.
The ants word is localized to just Scowl's
Oh, okay.
collection.
I thought we were
okay.
all getting that one.
Okay,
All
that's fine. I can still take care of this. So I'm gonna do clear and because that's already a 7 for me, and I happen to roll exactly a 7 again. That's odd. 6 and a 1.
All right. So you burst your word again.
Jesus.
So what are the
Right.
odds? Last
Let's
week everyone was
see.
rolling terrible, and now
All right. Well, I will be pondering my reconfiguration while you
tell me
tell us.
how this happened successfully.
Okay, so is this where I spend a word in my collection?
So since you rolled a 7, what this does is it's the same thing you just happened where you remove
Uh-huh.
one letter from it and then you turn it into a
Okay.
new word if you're able to. But this is a gratuitous display of power as the word overloads.
I
So
would
tell me
describe
how
my
you.
gratuitous display of power as we are able to use our systems to immediately locate the baddies in question.
Okay. You know that the giant teeth that are kind of ringing this giant mountain of flesh, that I thought I heard a scream. One of my cats has a
Oh.
cold, and so it's very high pitched. And I was like, "Is there a child dying outside my door?" I don't have a child. I was like, so you know that the shark people live among the teeth that they've kind of drilled into the sides of these teeth, and that's where they make their layers.
In the Shark Tooth Mountains.
Exactly.
They're the
So
Shark Tooth Mountain men.
So you know exactly where these kind of colonies of shark people are, and you know there's a giant concentration around them, around one particular tooth, and so that's probably where you're going to be to get the most of them in one action.
Okay, so if you guys can get me near or over them, I think I can handle these shark people.
Great. For which of the systems were you wanting to use on the ship?
Well, since I have
You're going to
the
be doing
word,
weapons.
yeah, I have acidic, so I would imagine one of our jelly squid ship space boys weapons could be a acidic cannon of some nature.
Yeah, for sure.
Please.
You can use the morph ability that was kind of built into it. I guess if you're going to be using a weapon, I should step back and say who's going to pilot this first round. Who's going to actually fly the ship? John. What was that, John? You're on mute.
John does not have a good word for this.
I've got okay. Here. Let's just try this. Okay, I can pilot the ship by using a ritual. Okay, because
Cool.
I might
Ooh.
not be your standard pilot. However, I do happen to know that I am excellent with weapon systems while stoned. So I am going to do, or sorry, with navigation systems while stoned. So I'm going to do this ritual to pilot the ship. It is a ritual where I smoke all the weed, essentially.
Yeah.
But
We
that's our
fi-
whole
we-
life support system.
We fire up Eric Burden's Wars Lowrider on the stereo. We
Mhm.
put the atmospheric compressors in Chong mode. Yeah. We are ready to go.
Okay. So that is going to be a 3d6 check, and so you're going to use your two best dice to make you the operations, or sorry, the engines and propulsions go.
And-
I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It is 2d6. I was looking at the wrong clock, so it's 2d6. My pardons.
All right, that
And
it's a 7.
by the way, and I'm turning clear into real. So and I think I get what? Do I change that to an 8 now? Now that I've blown
is
up my word of
correct.
power? Okay, and then I have see, that's it. Okay, got it. All right.
So
That's a mighty scanty word at this point.
echolalia. you are able to successfully pilot the ship, and with the successful work that's been done to find the shark people, you are able to very expertly pilot your jellyfish over to this tooth. You can see that this tooth is almost like the equivalent of a small mountain. The very base of this tooth looks like it's very decayed, and the whole mountainous tooth tilts at a strange angle as if it could fall into the mouth itself, or perhaps maybe beyond the gravity well and just fly out into the space beyond. But you can see that along its surface there are grooves, and like there are pathways that shark people have gone, and they seem to be congregating on the back side of the tooth, where there seems to be a lot of them in large circles, and you can see them with their captives.
Are these shark people, or like who were those plaque men from the Crest commercial? Remember those guys congregating on the back of the tooth? You know,
It's like that, but sharks. So
So-
why you always brush and floss?
So they carved their dwellings into the tooth. So it's like what's that place out in the desert? Yeah. So it's like that, but shark people.
That sounds about right. I like that. I like that vision. Let's do that.
All right. Well, what's bad for dentures is acidic things. That was threatening. Yeah.
Okay,
So-
so you're wanting to just kind of flood them out with acid then?
Yeah. That's been my plan, is to hit them with acid and hopefully trap them in their homes so they can do no more damage to the galaxy.
You know, acid like tends to melt things, not stick them together.
Yeah. Once everything's melted, it's kind of in one place
Okay,
permanently.
I just wanted to
trapped.
make sure. It's like,
I'm sorry, we have different definitions of what trapped is.
I'm just picturing like Pashki over this like smoking skeleton being like, "I really trapped you."
There's a Pete Holmes skit about Batman, of like him killing a bunch of bad guys. You kill those guys? No, they're just sleeping. They're all taking naps because they got tired from fighting me.
okay, so go ahead and you're gonna be rolling me 3d6 for your weapons. Actually, yeah.
All right, let's see if my trap works. I don't think these guys know it's coming.
Activate your trap card.
I rolled on the 3d6. That looks like
Give me your
that's
two best,
my two best. So
Two
the one and
lowest.
the 4,
two lowest dice.
5 total.
All right, then that's a success. So tell me, how does that trapping sticking together with acid being flooded into their homes look like?
Well, so
Real ugly.
Camera starts off with his name's Billamy Sharkface. Long line of shark faces. Billamy has it's like he's going to work first thing in the morning. His wife packed him lunch. It's a
Shark
bunch of
skin
meat.
briefcase.
Yeah, actually, it's a human skin briefcase.
Naturally, yeah.
So it's just a bunch of meat inside of a lunchbox. They kiss goodbye, and she's like, "Remember, Billamy, it's okay if you go to the bar after you get off work, but be sure to be home by 8." Wink. And Billamy says like, "Oh yeah, I'll be home all right. Thanks, babe." And he's just whistling away, walking out, and then the light coming from the nearby star gets eclipsed in the shape of our jellyfish squid thing, and he looks up and is like, "Huh, well, that's different." And as he says that, acid pulls down upon him, trapping him in liquid form.
Tracking them.
Really humanize that guy before committing
love that.
acid murder. I
What are
love
you talking
it.
about? He's a shark.
I love it. So you flood one of these big shark people colonies with the acid, and you even from a distance here you hear like tiny screams, like in the distance, tiny shark-like screams as you just
The church
flood their
bells are
homes with
ringing.
acid.
Yeah.
I think I'd have to consult street sharks to know what a shark scream sounds like.
Well, it probably sounds like buy our gummy candy or
Yep.
rollerblade more kids.
I
Don't talk to
wish
strangers.
it sounds like Vin Diesel because he did a unaired commercial.
Really?
Yeah, where he was playing with the Street Shark toys before they were released.
That's
Oh,
rad.
man.
That makes me very happy.
Wow. So this is going to be one of your successes. So in this, whenever you are given a mission by death, you get a kind of a mission clock to this. So this fills in one of the successes that you need to have. So you've flooded the tooth in various spots with acid, and you've basically neutralized a major encampment of this. You know that the tooth goes even deeper into here, and perhaps there is more shark people that you need to flesh out in order to finish your goal. So you're going to need 2 more successes of removing shark people or capturing them or enabling them in order to successfully complete this like mission for this planet, and then you go to the next planet and you keep doing these adventures until you either ascend back into corporeal form or you just really love doing this death agent thing and you do it for eternity.
I have something I would like to try.
All right.
Scal kind of like cozies up to the weapon controls and beep boops around for a bit. He's morphing it into a look, hey, who here likes sci-fi bullshit?
Oh.
He is
Ooh.
calibrating the weapon to be a sonic disruptor with these very, very specific frequency for rope made of sinew.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
can we call it a sonic reducer in honor of punk band Dead Boys?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Okay.
The sonic producer, I am rolling Calamity because the bindings that the shark people have used on their victims and their captives are going to have a calamitous failure, freeing all of the captives.
All right. I like where this is going. So go ahead. It'll be 2d6. The more that these modules get used on the ship, the less amount of dice that you roll.
Oh, boogers.
Did you just have a calamity when you tried to use calamity?
Yeah, I rolled a 9.
A 9. Okay. So
I'm not rolling good today, but that's okay.
tell me, how exactly did this go wrong?
So, I haven't had a body in a while, and I forgot it. So here's the thing. Here's look, Ian. Here's the thing. It didn't go wrong. See, I set the sonic reducer perfectly.
Shameless.
Hold on. I set that sonic reducer perfectly to disrupt sinew. Now, the problem is that bodies have sinew.
Sinew.
And shark people
Liberated some captives, all right.
some sinew.
You should have tried to trap him.
Here's the big thing. This planet also has sinew.
Oh, good point.
So
I like this.
I've reduced a lot. I'm great success.
Hey.
Oopsie doodle.
So I really like this. So here's a question to the other death agents. Since this was a calamitous calamity while trying to use calamity, do you want to see the failure go to such magnitude that basically the planetoid
success?
though the whole planetoid is basically ripped asunder, which would basically nerf the mission that you have, which would mean you would just get a new randomly rolled quest and planet.
Oopsie doodle.
I am perfectly fine nerfing and rolling on tables, but that is a collective, as all of you are emissaries of the illustrious god of death, that is a group decision.
I mean,
I
we're
have-
we're. Go ahead, Bridget.
No, I was just saying that I have a feeling. It's almost like a ghostly beckoning that I can feel that we are supposed to move on to another planet, that our work here is done.
Fair enough.
I was on the
buddy.
same page. Yeah.
Okay, so I like the fact that you have basically weakened this planetoid with acid, and then you just so successfully caused a calamity that it just destroys the whole planet.
You all
see-
trapped my
you guys see-
sharks.
You guys see Scowl, like, no body, obviously, but you can just see him, like, slowly get up from the controls. We should go. And, like, ghastly finger guns. As he backs away from the controls.
Ghastly finger guns.
How? So, like, is it more accurate than a regular finger gun? Like, since it's it's amorphous, so you could just form into like an AK-47 and a revolver.
You know what?
Yes.
We're about to lose. Actually, you know what, Ian? I'm going to fill in my I'm going to fill in 2 of my items to form 2 guns that I shoot into the air cowboy style as I back away from the controls dejectedly.
You're gonna be shooting blanks unless you want to take damage, but yes.
Also, I calamitously unplugged my headphones.
Well, at least we can still hear you. All right. So this is great.
Great.
Now-
Good job, John.
John, because you have failed this,
Don't know what you're talking about.
you're going to be needing to. We'll have to figure out how we can make the word, I guess, accidental calamity is now going to be your new word of power, and you increase that to 7. And I want you to roll me D66.
Okay, 1 second. Am I taking the best or counting them all? Oh
No,
my
no,
god.
D66.
I am a calamity. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 3.
No. D6. A 6 for the tens place and a 6 for the ones place.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, sorry about that. 23.
23. Oh, great. So, as you are. Oh, this table is nerfed. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay. I just found an error in the table. So as you are getting ready to flee this planet, you see that there is another Nautilus ship that is coming in to. It doesn't look like it's 100% on an intercept track to you, but it's heading towards the giant cloud of meat chunks and teeth. So you have, within nearby vicinity, you have a couple of different planets that you could go to flee, or you could choose to interact with your fellow death agents that are coming in on a ship.
I don't feel the need to do that necessarily after we as a team destroy that planet.
It was for the greater good. I'm just saying, those guys were doing far worse than we were. So ultimately, I mean, it's not like they had lives and children, and it's good. It's okay. It's fine. No one judges you.
The thing is though, it's okay.
I mean,
This
it's
is
half
just how
our
it was
fault.
supposed to shake out.
I had the
Alright.
Wreck-It Ralph bad guy mantra in my head now.
All right, perfect then. So you end up piloting your ship away from this Nautilus, and you see that this one looks much more like a squid, and it is grabbing up bits of the planetoid, especially the teeth, and it is kind of pulling it into the ship. Like you see it kind of flying over and just kind of meticulously grabbing, almost kind of farming things. One of its giant squid-like eyes, you don't know if that's a weapon port or if that's a life system port, is really fixed on your ship. Like it's keeping an eye on you while it's like gobbling up giant hunks of flesh. You feel compelling to go to one of these other nearby planets. What color is that as you get closer to it? What does it look like from a distance?
Purplish pink.
Purplish pink. Great. Roll me d6 then, grapefruit.
2.
All right, 2. And then I need 2 from your party. I need 2 words total from your collection.
I'm gonna say statue.
Statue, okay. It'll be crossed off. I need 1 more.
I'll
I'll
do
give you
one
get
more.
it.
submarine.
Oh, do submarine. That's a better word.
I
Okay.
do want to point out that there is a World Game Champ has a Twitter account. I can't remember what it is off the top of my skull, but all it does is post various death planets you can go to.
Ooh, well, that is fun. I was using the procedural guide in the back, but if there's
Yeah, it'll
a
just be
planet-
like a 1 sentence prompt for a death world. It's pretty cool.
All right. Well, I'd say if Nightbot was here amongst us, you could put it in the chat. But Nightbot has abandoned us. Okay.
But if you try to spell in all caps, they'll come back with a vengeance.
Okay. So this is okay. Hold on a sec. Roll a couple more times here, and then we will figure out. So attitude, and then vital resources. Okay. So this is a planet with a culture of statue-like people, and they are devoid of submarines. Or sorry, they are in pursuit of submarines.
Oh,
So are these like the statue-like people you see when you're like in a city that's posing that's painted gold?
That is exactly what they look like. And it is the planet from a distance is very scarcely populated with these statue people. They seem to be wandering on a giant plain with low shrubs and very strange things. Like in one way, almost things like they would look like sheep if sheep were inside out and half cyborg. They are, you see that they have very large exhaust pipes sticking out of the sheep, and they seem to be constantly dripping this into the hydraulic fluid as they roam the field. So your
Well, I don't know if androids dream of them, but
but you will now.
yeah, maybe.
It's a pretty good mental picture, honestly.
Would you like to dream of them? Because I have a word that might help with that. So
I'm considering using like the biggest word of power that I have in my arsenal, but I don't think there's any need to pull that one out yet.
So you know that your mission that you receive from death is a peacekeeping mission. Neighboring villages that are on this planet have been having escalating arguments on the proper treatment of nearby wildlife, which is primarily these very weird sheep creatures. The other villages are populated with people that are a different type of statue. They are, since you said that some of them were gold grapefruit, that these look like they are made out of marble.
They don't even have
It's
boom
just
boxes.
this.
They don't even have boom boxes.
Mm. But do they have tip jars?
The gold ones do.
Okay.
Yeah, I bet.
Great. When you go to land your ship lands on a very large flock of these sheep creatures. Both of these parties of statue people are extremely irate and upset and are demanding that you get out of your ship.
You know what? I really want a successful roll. I am going to. All right, this is gonna be weird. They're trying to manipulate us through threats to get us off our ship. I want to use demanipulate to essentially de-escalate for them to assert my will on the situation and cause them to be more diplomatic.
You want to manipulate them, in other words.
No,
I'm doing the
no.
They're manipulating
manipulate.
us through threats, and I am de-escalating the situation through
If it doesn't work, you
demanipulation.
can send hypotenuse out to eat them. So
That's true. that's a manipulation of their
Mhm.
their matter into foodstuffs.
All right. I will say that the mission clock for this is going to be 3 successes of going through this diplomacy or with dealing with this with extreme prejudice in either capacity. Because as death agents, you have a lot of leeway of how you can enforce death's will. So go ahead and make me your demanipulate roll and
Please,
see
dice.
how that affects. Now, keep in mind that before you figure out what you're doing here, you can use items because you can use up to 5. You can augment. Well, I hear that you sound. I heard you start making grunts. So what happened first off?
No,
And we can kinda walk
I
through.
rolled 1 point under, so we are not.
Okay.
We did not fail this time.
Oh.
And what that looks like is Al kind of goes over to the intercom and says, I believe that there is enough anger and hostility here without adding more. We come to assist you and will gladly exit to discuss with you if you will calm down. And with that, I assert my willpower
Well,
into
the
the
one-
situation as well.
The one thing that's going to be modifying this, since you have a successful use of one of your words of power, is that you are going to be choosing a word from your collection to inspire this narrative of a pre-agency memory that you recall in this moment. So this is kind of like a 2-part thing. So you're saying this, but what word from your collection helps you to think back to the thing that you once were?
So the word is burden. And in this particular case, I'm remembering, and it applies because we are taking on the burden of their hardships as allies, and I am, the memory that it sparks is, am I getting a memory here?
This is a memory, yes.
Okay,
So
great.
what happens is that after you're done with you describing the word burden, it gets crossed off your list of collection, and a short description of your memory becomes in your memory. So that can become a word of power, or you can roll memories or other things like that. So you taking burden, or not take burden. You said, well, once you finish that, then we can figure out what is the memory, which is like 1 to 5 words long, basically.
So, and what I remember suddenly is the burden of being friends with someone who is self-destructive, and my sense of obligation to protect and help them heal.
So perhaps your memory is protect.
Shield, maybe?
Shield. That'd be a good encompassing word. So you go ahead and then you cross off burden and then you add shield to your memories. So you can
Yes.
test memories just like you would a word of power, rolling under. This is success, equal. This again, great success. The differences between a word of power and a memory is that when you succeed at using a memory, it gives you life because it helps to bring you back closer to the thing you were. So memories are very powerful things, but they're very dangerous because the more you kind of use them, the more you're going to get attention of the Death Knights and the ire of death itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so fantastic. So how do or so you've had a lot of narrative here. The rest of you, how does that come to fruition? So you have this demanipulation of this kind of argument and you're telling them to calm down. What does that look like with these two statue people, groups of statue people?
Well, I mean, they're kind of just like,
I think
For
one is
people who are
getting
listening to
upset.
audio only. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that one of them is getting, like, you could tell they're frustrated and they have now trapped themselves in a box because the statue person is miming now. So he's trapped himself in an invisible box to try to ignore our de-escalation attempts.
Love it. So the parties themselves have calmed down enough that you could probably safely exit your ship and kind of engage with them. If you notice that underneath the tentacles of your ship that there are just bits and hunks of sheep and sheep metal, sheep meat, and like at least one of them is like making weird bleeding sounds out of his exhaust pipe.
Yeah, that. That's not it.
Yeah, that might be what they're upset about.
Yeah.
Well, you guys know that, half of diplomacy is asking questions.
so the robot guys, so it seems like you got some good sheep here. What's going on, huh? How you doing?
Well, they were great, as you call them, sheep. They are now broken.
So you need it fixed? Huh?
In putting sarcasm, yes.
Anyone got a fixin' word?
I do.
Woohoo!
But good. I was afraid
That's
I'd have
all.
to use accidental calamity.
All right. So,
It's always an
Now that
option.
you say it.
so first, to make sure that I get this correct, which half of the sheep is broken?
Well, this was a flock of them. So
No, my
some of them
point
are-
is, like, they're half metal, half sheep,
Oh.
right?
yes.
Is the dysfunction that they're not all the way metal sheep, or that they're not all the way sheep?
Oh,
I think it's the
function was you
functions
just
we
landed
landed
a
on them.
spaceship. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well,
they
in
were
that
functioning
case,
fine before that.
well, you know what? There's nothing quite like restoring things to the way they once were, or making them the way you'd like them to be on a planet. So I'll do you one better than just fixing your sheep. I will terraform this whole planet for you using my most powerful word of power, which is terraform. Um, let's roll for that and see
So
if I succeed.
it's interesting because the marble statue people kind of immediately pick up to this, as you were saying, because part of the core conflict of them is that these mechanical sheep-like creatures have been consuming all of the plant life, and so that is
Oh, I
their
can fix
core-
this.
So that is this core conflict. So
I
hopefully
can
you
fix
roll
that
well.
core conflict. Yeah, hopefully I roll well, because I'd like to make it so that it's a nice balance between hideous mechanical sheep abortions and probably edible wheat. Hang on. Hey, I do succeed. That's a 5, and my threshold was 6.
Okay, so before you start narrating this, just like how Scowl's action happens, so you choose a word from your collections, and you use that to inspire a narrative of a memory that you had from the life that you were.
Okay. So I describe success and then choose the word from my collection and go on about it.
Correct.
Right. Okay. So, the mechanical sheep learn to use a more agreeable and sustainable and efficient wetware to really wetware ratio and consume less of the crop or herb-like matter, which
Uh-huh.
flourishes, as do the now pint-sized but twice as delicious sheep. And the word that I'm going to take from my collection is candles. And you said it's like a 5-word memory or something
Could
like
be,
that.
so you could tell me your memory. You can narrate it. It's just you pick like a short concept from that, and that becomes like your skill, like a word of power. So you just like you don't want to
Okay.
write a paragraph down because this has to be something that you can actionize.
All right. Well, the word from my from my bank is candles, and I remember committing atrocities, murdering by candlelight, and so in my word of memory, I'm going to make murder, which is always a useful word to have in your back pocket.
I think that is spectacular.
Thank you.
All right, so you
I've almost
have
exhausted my collection at this point.
that, and that is true. So you
I'm
will
down
be
to
getting
one
some
word.
more. You'll be getting some more here after you leave this planetoid. Were you one of the people that also gave one of the two words? Submarine was one of your
Yeah.
words, wasn't
Yep.
it? I
Mhm.
do owe you a word on the random table of words, and I also owe statue. Who was statue?
That was me.
All right, so both of you go ahead and roll me d66.
I got a 34 for my D66.
That is fantastic
And I
because
got
you
a
are
32.
robotic. And
I got
32 is
uh-huh.
going to be midnight.
Oh, that's a good one. It was robotic.
Robotic.
Okay. So you have so the terraforming starts to bristle across the planet. The rest of you, tell me what some of these odd plants that look like as they begin to sprout out of the earth.
They're they're kind of like Venus flytraps, only instead of having teeth, they have giant lips and they're making kissy sounds as they
Hate
are
that.
rising up.
Don't like that at all.
I like
I
that.
know it's an
Aren't
awful
those
planet.
aren't those in like Super Mario, or am I remembering Little Shop of Horrors? I think I'm remembering
They're
Little
both the
That's
Shop
part
same.
of
of
Horrors.
Those are
Yeah.
toothy.
Ashley twos,
Audrey. too.
Audrey.
Audrey twos. Thank you.
Audrey too.
That's a fuck up 101.
Ashley
Uh,
choose a very different plant.
there are vines covered in, like, they would be brambles, but instead of brambles, they have little morel mushrooms pointed off all
Delightful.
around. Yeah, it's an incredibly delicious vine and nutritious too.
So there's this type of bush that as it grows at the start of its season, its seed pod starts out smaller, but as it grows and more seeds develop, it gets bigger, but it also gets more tighter. And so the tension of the seed pod continues to grow as it grows in mass until eventually the branch that it's on can't hold the tension anymore, and the seed pod will just rip and shoot off like a rocket, spreading the seeds everywhere.
I think that's a real plant,
Dude, that's a
actually.
Is
real
it?
plant. You know,
I was
Yeah.
trying to make
it's
something
called
up.
a shotgun tree.
Yeah. Grenade trees, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, I
Stupid
mean, there's-
nature
yeah.
steature my ideas.
No, it's neat because it can kill people.
Yeah.
No, that's what's so awesome is like like nature is stranger than fiction. Like you literally like were describing
Guys,
some this
we're gonna take an ant, but we're gonna put some wings on it. I know that's a fucking crazy idea. Stupid nature.
Well, I was going to go the opposite way. I was going to say, we're going to take an ant. We're going to put velvet hair all over it and take away its wings. And it's going to be super... What do you mean that exists? Fuck you, nature.
There's a bush that it smells like cured bacon at any time. And in fact,
Ooh.
the closer you get to this bush, you just keep smelling meat, but it's small, and so you don't expect it. It's a ham bush.
And that's when John and Ian stopped being friends.
All right, stop the stream now. Everyone have a great night.
Patchkey and Baldusberger formed the Mad at Ian's Pun Club.
I love it. I want more of it. I'm gonna be using that one myself.
The funny thing to me is that Ian said that in the exact same voice he narrates while GMing. So I was like, is this a real thing or is
Yeah,
he like
same.
me in the
It's
game right now?
game.
It's an ambush.
I had a feeling. We were headed for a payoff. Yeah.
So the core conflict between these two statue people are almost resolved. The problem that just persists is that there's still cultural tensions between these two groups. They have been conflicted so long over this that they kind of almost diverged into two uniquely different groups. You could tell by the composition of their bodies. And this must have been a conflict that happened a long time for this planet to have been barren, and now you're terraforming it. And so, as interlopers in this, they kind of now look to you to say, how can we prevent this tragedy from ever happening again?
Do you
can
guys
see
trust
as
me
you're
to make another
watching,
roll?
The sheep that have been smashed and turned to guts are rebuilding themselves, and we're from one sheep a split, and there are now two sheep.
Oh.
So they're multiplying in front of you.
Love it. Do you guys trust me to make another roll?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Ian, I'm going to
The bargaining
spend.
is already starting. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to spend life to transfer one
Okay.
of my collection words to a word of power.
All right, so roll me d6 and see how much it costs you.
Oh, balls!
Is it 6? Because it's
5.
awesome if it was
It was
It didn't
5.
matter
I'm
if
not
you got a
dead
6.
yet.
Okay,
Death is pretty cool in this game, though. I won't lie.
exactly.
So I'm turning robotic into a word of power. The word I
Okay.
just got.
Ooh.
And I would like to find their central hub of updating, we're at whatever the universe thing that sends out new software updates for their OS. And I would like to use that robotics to reprogram them away from this generational cycle of trauma.
I like that you are updating. You're just rebooting the BIOS and slapping in a patch and calling it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm patching out generational trauma, guys.
I love it. I love it. So go ahead and roll.
I'm scared, guys.
It's gonna be fine.
Oh, thank gosh.
So you
5.
program more trauma.
I rolled a
into people.
5. I roll a
All right.
God. You don't
Re-traumatized.
know what I would have. I feel at this point in this game, I feel a little bit like Samus whenever she visits a planet in Metroid and then blows it up. I saved this planet for space pirates. Oh, then what? Then I blew it the fuck up.
I was
Shit.
thinking Samus from 40K. Samus is here.
Yeah.
Um,
Samus is the end and the death. Samus is right there beside you. I think at
Anyway.
one point another demon refers to Samus as basically a chatty bitch, and it was
I
one of the
remember that.
things. It was one of the things that made me laugh hardest in all of the 40K books.
All right.
well, tell me what word from your collection starts to unlock a new core memory within you.
Okay. Oh, well. Oh, shit. Okay. This one's dark. The word is ants. And
Okay. Dark.
all I remember
Ants.
is staring down at my friend's decomposing body covered in ants that are devouring his dead flesh.
Like that head in Hereditary.
Exactly like that head in Hereditary.
That was a really good so like just a little bit of a horror fan insider gossip here. An effective jump scare is one that does not cut away, that does not like look away from the horror, which is why some movies like It Follows, etc., like what is not traditionally considered a jump scare because it's too long is like way more effective. The
I
same
love
with
It
that fucking
Follows.
head in Hereditary. Yeah, me too.
So my word, Ian, that I'm gaining as a memory is devour.
Ooh.
All right. I love it. So that is now in your memories, and you have our crossing off robotics.
And
Yeah,
ants.
ants. Yeah, both.
I am not doing great on collection, but that's okay because I'm doing great on character building.
Okay, great. So basically, between the two of this, or between the terraforming and the diplomacy and dealing with intergenerational trauma, you have successfully completed this task that death has given you. So this gives you either an opportunity that you can begin exploring this planet furthermore with these kind of burgeoning memories, or you can return to your ship and pilot it away and keep doing more missions.
So in other words,
So this is a planet that you could start to also catalog all these
that's
new
a
creatures
shit.
that
do
are
we
just being
want
terraformed.
do we want to family double dare this one is what you're asking us? No,
On one hand, like John Baldisberger loves cataloging alien planets. No Man's Sky, my jam. That said, we've completely successfully, no notes needed, no criticism accepted, completed 2 planet missions
yeah.
in about an hour and a half. I think we can get one more, y'all.
Okay.
Okay.
It'd be a tight since we're
Yeah, I
we
know.
have 10 minutes, 12 minutes. We can shoot or do an in media res cutout.
Look,
It's
I've got
enough
warthogs.
time to blow up another planet. Let's go.
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
I've got warthogs. We can lift like 30 or 50 wild hogs on a planet.
I've
All
still
right.
got that
Within 3 to 4
terraform button.
minutes. Yeah.
I've got that
I will go
terraform
ahead-
button, and I've got a awesome word that I could use along with it. If you guys want to just like, yeah, let's do that real quick. I don't give a shit. Pick a planet, any planet.
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Fantastic.
I've got
so your
bird
life
watch.
goes back up to 6.
Cool.
Ugh.
I
I want
So
to
you
make
say-
an item on the next planet because we haven't
gonna
played
go-
with that at all.
I don't know that you're going to be able to do that, but we can try.
We
It'll
will,
all depend on
just
you,
for
John.
convenience, I will give everyone just a quick word that they'll put on their collection. It's going to pull randomly, just so then you can replenish as you have the combat. I will give hypotenuse. You get radiate, grapefruit. You get distortion. Echolalia. You get snowfall, and scowl. You get unholy.
Oh hell yeah, I do.
Go accept good holy.
All right, so we will quickly go ahead and make a random planet here. Someone roll me a d6.
I'll do it. Me.
Do it.
All right. That is a 4.
Okay, a 4. Great. And then I need 2 of you others to also roll me a d6 as well.
I'll roll a d6.
I will also roll one.
Okay.
2.
3.
Okay. And then I need 2 of you to give me a word from your collection list each. Just I
I
need
did it
2
last-
words.
Charles and I did it last time. I think Patsky and Bridget should go this time.
Here,
Nice.
let's do it.
I'll give my
Okay.
new word. I'll give snowfall.
Snowfall. I love it.
That's a good one.
So literally, using the planet generator, raw dog in it, this becomes so interesting how to interpret this engine. a planet that was formerly paradise is now coping with snowfall. And
Oh, it's that train movie. Train TV
Snowpiercer.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there are the snowfall is being caused by some type of wild creature.
Oh, cool.
Okay. And there is other. So there's also secret things that are kind of rolled in background. Since we're going to have a short time here, I'm going to go ahead and make that player facing. The hidden danger here are conniving warlords, and the planet's population is concentrated in small societies connected over vast distances.
I forgot about those roles. Thank you for mentioning them, because I think like players should know that there is that background that players don't know.
There is also fantastic charts for this could be used in other games, creature creation system, people reaction systems, all kinds of things. It's quite significant. And if you were to have failed any of those roles when you're doing diplomacy, there's a whole like what are the consequences of you effing up like in a tense situation like that. So it is delightful. Lastly, I need 2 of you to roll me a 6.
I'll do it. I like
I'll do it.
rolling. Oh.
Come on. Oh, you'll do it. Okay.
I got another 3.
3 and what was that I was looking up? What was the number? 3 and 6. All right. So this is this is another peacekeeping operation. Adjacent planets are sending warships to colonize their shared moons. It seems like the snowfall has been so heavily that their space program has been interrupted, leaving their moons underdeveloped and thus ripe for conquest. So that is your mission from death, is to deal with this interplanetary conflict that is about to begin.
I got the solution for it, and we don't even have to get out of the spaceship.
Oh, I love it.
Calamity. You know.
Exactly. Very specific. Actually, I'll give you guys dealer's choice if I succeed on this roll of what the calamity will be. Terraform. I choose you.
You've used Terraform, so that got successfully used and
Hot to a 7.
consumed.
Yeah, I've been playing along at home. Let's see here.
No, I'm saying like when you use Terraform, it
In my
gets
words of
deleted
power,
altogether.
it gets deleted? Oh, weak sauce. Okay, so I only have 2
because
words
it's
of power.
encouraging you to develop, because then you get a memory and then you are adding words to your collection, so it's encouraging you to burn your life and risk dying because that triggers other events.
Well, I have a word
Alright.
in his place if that was your big go-to, sir.
Yeah,
Now,
I
keep
was
in
gonna.
mind, your life replenishes every time you go to and from a planet, so you can make any of your words in your collection into words of power if you want. You just got to spend D6 life.
My collection's pretty scanty too. I'm done, I think. That's cool.
So does that mean I lost acidic, but I could move vortex into a word of power?
By spending D6 life, correct.
Amazing. I am going to, with the blessing of my fellow death agents, I am going to use our Necronautilus's comms system. What was the word for our comms system?
Planets.
I don't remember.
Planets. Okay. I'm going to send out a signal that is going to cause an accidental calamity in the weapon systems of other ships in our little sector of space.
Fantastic. We'll see how this plays out, and we can have that be the closing scene.
9.
Okay. So how exactly so what that does is instead of you arming all of the other ships, you have armed your ship to
Mhm.
self-detonate.
Yeah,
And so
that tracks.
the camera begins to pan out from this and to cut to the credit reel as like all of you are scrambling to figure out how to abandon ship before it explodes, and you really piss off death by all of you dying and then having to reform, where you will be severely punished for all of the accidents that you have caused recently.
I don't know what you're talking about. This was a fantastic.
Yeah,
All right, so we'll
absolute
transition
success.
out.
Man, I love this game so much. We played pretty fast and loose, like bam, 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 bam. Obviously, it can be played slower and more methodical, more thoughtful, or it can be played like this, where you like, because it's important to remember that for a lot of people, one of the things getting away in the way of games is time. We're
Mhm.
adults, we have lives, we have jobs, we have fucking priorities. And so like I said, we did 3 planets in about an hour and a half. And I can't say I had a blast. I
Yeah,
had
it was a
lot
lot
of
of
fun.
fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This system is fantastic, and
Really fun.
you know, and I won't point out, Patrick, you made the joke at the beginning of like making the guy with dyslexia read, but like because the system is not rigorous on like on spelling and on the way words are formed, it can be like it can be accessible to anyone who can essentially sound out letters. And I think it's brilliant. I also want to say that this game, more than any game I've ever played, having a laminated sheet was super useful.
Actually, I could see that. I could
Like,
really
I was
see
just
that.
like, okay, delete that. World Champ Games is super cool. Necronautilus is great, but they have a lot of games on their site, so I really recommend you head over there. I'll put the link in the show notes to World Champ Games.
Beware, you will spend a lot of money on that
You
website.
can spend a lot of money, but
And that link is in
But-
our socials that have already gone out on Instagram, Twitter,
Yes.
etc. So
thank you, sir. But the counterpoint is none of the games are that expensive. They're very
No.
like well priced. So you'll spend a lot of money, but you'll get like a bunch of games because of that. And he keeps on designing, so it's great. We do have some announcements today. God, son of the sun. No, it's just my sheet. Jesus.
dark mode, gotta watch it in dark mode, dude.
Mhm.
Bro, it's
Yeah.
in dark mode. It's just now this like 42-inch TV is a Google Drive sheet, a Google Doc. Hey, if you're in Central Texas, the Ghoulish Book Festival is happening in a few scant weeks. Madness Heart Press and myself will be there. And in fact, I want like this is kind of cool. This is going to be one of the first Wandering Monster possible events where you'll have 2 of the monsters who wander at one table. And I promise you, Bridget and I will be talking games, we'll be talking monsters, and maybe who knows? Maybe I can convince Max to let us do some live RP talk or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Last night, earlier this week, 2 days ago, dang, I'm tired. We released 4 new books from Madness Heart Press, the pocket books. Adesede, the Jewish monster hunter, posted a picture of the books he grabbed from Amazon a few minutes ago, and they look so gorgeous. They look amazing.
I thought
Ed-
you were gonna say they look so cute.
They do look cute too. Ed Lee has a book. Christine Morgan has a book. Jay Wilburn has an amazing, heartrending book called Failure, and your boy has a new one called The Hillels Have Eyes.
And I made that stupid joke about them being cute because they are Madness Art Press pocketbooks.
They are literally sized to go in your pocket. They are novelettes, and they are amazing ways to check out new authors, or maybe like just kind of have a pocket version of your favorite author on the go. They are dirt cheap too, so that is wonderful. We do have a book coming out next week called Trigger Warning Curses, edited by Christine Morgan, and another book the week after that called Picking Scabs by Susan Snyder, which is a poetry chapbook collection, and another book the week after that, because I fucking am insane, called End of Days by Andrew Fox. We're also going to be getting some randomly generated events going on pretty quickly. Ian and I just need to touch base and figure out what the actual schedule for that's going to look like. Ian, you're going to be running a game, a bunch of games at
5.
Man, don't make me say the name of the con. Hoosier
Say
Con.
it.
Hoosier Con. It's a convention in the Midwest.
The great state of Indiana, in the
In the
city of
great
Indianapolis. It's an independent gaming convention. It's
Hoosier-
good.
Look, independent gaming is, as you might know, one of my favorite fucking things. But saying Hoosier Con is painful. Anyway, Ian will
Get
be
over
there,
it.
he'll be running stuff. But more importantly, in 2 weeks' time, right before Picking Scabs comes out, there's a Kickstarter for Metromancer, the game we played the other week that merges Morkborg and Cyborg in the underground tunnels of the city. It's extremely cool. There is some Borderlands 2 references in it that are tons of fun.
Caleb Engelke just gave me the art from him, and we got his commission back. It's
And-
chef's
and
kiss.
And I will also say, Bridget will also be at the Hoosier Con. So you can catch Bridget twice.
I might
Every-
even go to HoosierCon.
You
I won't be
will.
doing anything. Yeah, I'm
So,
thinking about
okay,
it.
so
Bridget
if
is
you're in
all around
Texas,
you.
go to Ghoulish
Bridget's
Book
right
Fest
beside you.
so you can get me and Bridget at the same time. But if you're in Indiana or in that part of the country, go to Hoosier Con and hang out with Bridget, Charles, Mr. Patchkey, and Ian at the same time.
Yeah.
Ian will not make the
Family.
ambush joke, I promise.
Ian will
He
make the
might.
ambush joke.
Won't. I promise. Anyway, I think that's all the news that is news. I will say, this is the first batch of pocketbooks we're releasing. We're releasing 4 more in pretty quick succession, and that will include Lucas Mangum, Charles Bernard, Maxwell Bauman, and either Doug Ford or Nicholas Robinson or Gina Rinaldi. Just kind of depends on who gets me their books first. So yeah, we got a lot of cool shit going on, guys. I think that's everything we have for you. If you want to follow us, see what we're doing, this show is available on Twitch. Obviously, we're here right now, but it's also available on YouTube. If you like and subscribe, that helps us in the algorithm. So please do those things. Or if you just want to listen to our dulcet tones, you can find us wherever you can find your audio podcasts.
Ambush.
And fuck you. Follow us on Twitter. Juan Moncast at Twitter. Charles busts his ass keeping that flowing with cool shit. And he really that account deserves your follow. You can also
My
find the rest
ass,
of us.
other people's asses. A lot of asses get busted is the point.
You can find all of us on juanmoncast.com. Follow all of our socials. Make us feel good about ourselves. We are going to be returning. 4 of us will be returning next week. Mr. Servas is going to be taking a week off to pursue a Dynasty of Bloodshed. But
Like a good person does.
in that time, while he is off, we will be playing One Ring from Free League. It is
Hell yeah.
Lord of the Rings tabletop RPG that is just gorgeous. And all these little friends are going to be hobbits. It's going to be rad. So We will see you then. Friends, thank you so much for joining us on this consensual journey we call Wandering Monster. I have been John Baldisberger.
I have been Charles R. Bernard.
I've been Bridget Brave.
I have been a hambush.
I've
Last
been
time
a
I'll say it.
I've been a floating cloud of vapor that doesn't understand how he got here.
We will see you next week, but until then, take shots of lime juice.